What are we talking about?
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Can't wait.
Let's go!
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to Cheap Seats Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. And to my left, I got the prince of production from Sports Empire Network, the king, Kyle Edwards. How you feeling, Kyle?
I'm good. Can't complain. Got some good topics tonight. Can't wait to get into it with you guys.
Directly below me, I got Jory from Jory Sports Stories. She's surprisingly chipper, in a good mood today. Her Titans look like they put it together for a game that didn't matter. But that's okay. They won. So you're on mute. That's perfect. It's perfect that you're on mute for that response. I'm just kidding. How you doing tonight, Jory? They did play spoiler.
I'm doing all right.
Hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings. My second favorite team was eliminated. I will have a new second favorite team next year, though. I will have a new second favorite team next year because my prediction will reign true. Justin Fields, Eric Bieniemy, Atlanta Falcons. They will be my second favorite team if those things happen. And listen, it doesn't have to be Bieniemy. It could be Flores and Fields. But, like, I don't care how ridiculous I sound, but I need a qualified African-American coach and Justin Fields. I don't care if I sound like I'm prejudiced. I am. The league's been prejudiced for years. And I'm telling you right now, I need a qualified African-American coach, and I need Justin Fields. Give me that in the ATL with Bijan, Drake, Kyle Pitts, and that's going to be my new second favorite team. Steven Chambers.
I think there's a chance you get neither.
See, I don't want to hear that, though. Let me live in my fantasy world, Kyle.
Look, if they did that, that would prove Atlanta knows what they're doing. I just can't go there with them right now.
You might be right. Does that have to matter? Can I just live in my bubble? I want to live in my bubble.
I also kind of want the Falcons to continue to be miserable because somehow that kind of makes me happy. I don't know why, but it is what it is.
See, listen, here's the thing, right? If the Falcons did that, it would be instantly become your second favorite team. And you live in the A.
I would be encouraged by the direction of the team, yes.
So if you're encouraged by the direction of the team and you live in the A, wouldn't that be something? Like, I probably could get Jory off the Titans and over to Atlanta. I probably could convert both you two into Falcons fans. We could all be a Cheap Seats Falcons podcast.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I switched from the Falcons for a reason.
But what if they got some sense in themselves, Jory? What if they did exactly like I said? What if they hired Eric Bieniemy? What if they traded for Justin Fields?
They won't because it makes the most sense. That's why they won't do it.
I'll tell you who's going to make a move that doesn't make sense. The Chicago Bears. Now the shirts are coming. They're in production. They're being made. Marry the coach to the quarterback. Chicago's going to do the same thing. What's the definition of insanity, Kyle?
Continuing the same thing over and over and hoping for something different.
That's the definition of insanity.
Yep.
This will now be the third time in a row they keep a coach there on a lame duck year and draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
They did it with Fox. They did it with Nagy. They're going to do it with Eberflus. When they fail again next year with Caleb Williams, who's going to be a rookie quarterback, they're not going to keep Eberflus, and they're going to have a new coach come in that didn't pick Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I kind of think that's what they're going to end up doing.
If they do that,
I don't know. Yeah.
Steven Chambers says the Titans could fire Rabel. I don't think they're going to. I think Mike Rabel's a very good coach.
That's a bunch of noise, and it's annoying. And I'm not trying to rant right now, So
Well, before we get into football, because we got a lot of coaching carousel, we got to knock out some basketball. And knocking out is actually a really good term to get into this conversation. Kyle, lead me in.
All right, so Draymond Green, if you didn't know, the suspension is over. He's been reinstated. But for some reason, he didn't play the very first game after the suspension. As you can see, he was in street clothes. We saw John Morant miss 25 games and play in game 26 and look like he had no rust or anything like that. Are we supposed to look at this and say maybe there's something going on between Draymond and the Warriors? Maybe he's upset with them, although you couldn't tell from this picture because it looks like he's kind of engaged. But is there something going on behind the scenes? Could the Warriors maybe be looking to trade him? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you think this situation is going to play out? I guess we'll say.
All right, so I don't know if everyone has seen all the stuff that's come out.
True.
I love Draymond Green's. I love his podcast. I love him having a platform to speak. I think he's a much more intelligent person than people give him credit for. He is a super smart individual. He's just very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And when everything happened with the suspension, he said that he pondered retirement. He actually told Adam Silver, I'm done. I'm going to retire. Adam Silver said, yeah, it's a little hasty. It's a little much. Talked him off the ledge, and Draymond Green credited Adam Silver with him being back in the NBA. He said that it's great to play for a league that has a commissioner that cares about his players the way Adam Silver does. Adam Silver suspends this dude indefinitely and comes out smelling like roses. Look, I think the reason that he was in street clothes is I don't think he's really in basketball shape. I think that he took a lot of that 2 weeks off and really pondered retirement, wasn't practicing, wasn't working with the team. And I think that he's getting himself into basketball shape. I don't think it has anything to do with Steph or Clay. However, I do want to see the first time these dudes play Phoenix because he had some not so nice things to say about Mr. Kevin Durant.
Oh, Lord. Back to old Draymond.
See, you say back to old Draymond, but like, Jory, I'm not gonna lie to you. If Sports Empire Network had like a comparative person, you're Draymond. That's who you are. You be lashing out at people, hitting people. That's what you do. If we were all in the same room, you would have smacked at least one person in Sports Empire Network. You might have smacked Freddie a few weeks ago. Am I lying?
No. No.
You would have smacked Freddie a few weeks ago?
No.
I mean, how you think you get what I'm saying here? Jory Green, Draymond Williams.
I get where you're going with it.
He's just as sensitive as Kevin, though.
I think it's different. Maybe it's me. I think Kevin Durant is sensitive, like soft. I think Draymond Green is sensitive as in passionate.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's total differences between the two.
I see that. Because I feel like Draymond is sensitive to the point where he's not afraid to be confrontational with somebody. Whereas KD is just sensitive because he just wants everybody to love him. And if you criticize him, then he becomes like, oh, why would you criticize me? Where I think Draymond, if you criticize him, he'd probably listen to you, then be like, you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong. It would have I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain in words, but yeah, they are sensitive in a way, but they are kind of on different sides of sensitivity.
I feel like I'm Draymond sensitive. Like, I don't ever fear confrontation.
Mm-mm.
I will tell people what time it is, any time of the day. If they need to hear it, they need to hear it.
I think KD sensitive takes a lot of energy out of you to be that sensitive.
Bro, KD is petty sensitive. Burner account sensitive. Arguing with fans sensitive.
Yeah.
KD really cares what people say about him on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
He makes $50 million a year, and he cares what some schlub on Twitter thinks of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. What time is it, Anthony? I'm missing something. What am I missing? 6:41, baby. I don't know. So what are your thoughts, Jory? What do you think that Draymond Green, do you think there's something to him sitting out? You think that what's your thoughts?
I think, like what you said, it could be him trying to get back in himself into game shape and mentally preparing himself. Because if he's pondering retirement, now when I heard that, I kind of laughed because I know I'm a dramatic person, but I'm not going to be the one that's, oh, they sat me down. Retirement. No. No. But I'm not too concerned about like the inner workings of Golden State because it's already in the shambles. It's already in shambles. I can't really worry about it further than that. But it's like he should be playing by what, Friday? The only thing, like, if he's not playing by Friday, that's when I'll get concerned about, okay, what's going on? What's really going on here? But he just got to get himself into game shape. It's just the one day that he's missed. Now, if he's not playing by Saturday, that's when I start asking, maybe something is going on.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick. You said the Warriors are in shambles. Do you think that they have a chance to win the NBA Finals this year?
Hell no.
Why not? I'm just wondering. What makes them in shambles?
One,
You don't think that they get Chris Paul back, Draymond Green back, the whole band gets back together? You don't think they have a chance to win the NBA Finals? Like, what constitutes them in shambles?
you have Steve Kerr. They have, well, it is shambles because they've kind of gotten complacent over the years, and then it's all starting to catch up to him. Clay's a shell of himself. You're not developing players very well. The stuff is starting to come out, and then you haven't really managed Draymond very well either, because he was still, this was the rock bottom for him to get to the point. So of course I'm gonna think it's in shambles because you got too much going on, too much distracting factors going on. And as far as them going to the NBA Finals, even if they do get Chris Paul back, I don't trust them to stay healthy. And
All right,
they
so
haven't.
let me just try to sum up what you're saying. There's a lot of attention around them. They have players that can't stay on the court. They're below 500 after 36 games. They got guys that have all this attention that follow them around the league, and like Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and they have older superstars that are just really not, they're on the back half of their career. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and they've gotten complacent because you've had opportunities to develop younger talent. But because you're just so enamored with what these three can do, you're not giving these young players a chance, which is stupid. And this is why we're here now with the Warriors.
Jory, I don't know if you knew what I just did there.
I know what you did.
Kyle, what'd I do?
Because you're going to probably swing it around to the Lakers.
I just, no, I not, yes, that's what I did.
But I'll tell
in.
you the same thing about my Lakers.
So you don't think the Lakers have a chance to win the NBA Finals? They can't turn it around?
I mean, we're in a bit of a better spot.
Why?
I mean, no.
You have an aging superstar. You're under 500 after 37 games. You have older talent that's on the back half of their career. You're not developing your young talent that's sitting on your bench. You have a bunch of attention hanging around LeBron.
Some of that talent need to go, like D'Angelo. They need to go, some of them. But yeah, the same thing applies for my Lakers. I think we will be mid-tier in the West at best at this point. I don't know what Darvin Ham is doing.
Yeah, but that's not what I asked.
Know what he's doing.
What I asked is, do you think that the Lakers can turn it around and win the NBA Finals?
They always have that potential because they got Braun and the way Anthony Davis is playing now. But
do you think that the Warriors can turn it around and win an NBA Finals?
No.
They always have that potential because they have Steph.
No. It's going to take more.
Yeah, I don't know why that's different. What's different about what I said?
Because
I think the Warriors have more talent.
The Warriors don't have. I mean, they're too small. Like the way that the league is set, the Warriors have a least better of a chance because of how small that they are. At least the Lakers have some size. I'll give the Lakers some size. Warriors don't barely have any of that.
I think that if you went player for player, talent for talent, roster for roster, you would take the Warriors roster before. Like we could do just for fun, right? Let's just for fun. Why don't we draft the players like between the two teams? And we'll go, let's just say a rotation. We'll go 8 strong. And we'll draft them. You want to do that for fun?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So first overall pick, I'll let you have it. Who are you taking number 1 overall?
Give me Anthony Davis.
So you're taking AD, number 1 overall.
No, Bron. Wait, no. Anthony Davis. You're not going to get me today.
All right. Well, I'm taking Steph and AD.
I took Anthony Davis. You can't do that.
So I'm taking Steph and LeBron.
Wait.
So you get the next 2. We're drafting them, me and you, back and forth.
Give me Draymond. Give me Reeves.
Okay. Draymond and Reeves. And I'll take Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins.
I can't even name half of these people off the bat.
I mean, I didn't even get to Chris Paul yet. I mean, Chris Paul's better than anybody else that's left. I'll tell you right now, Jonathan Kuminga is better than anybody left.
Well, you got a point there. So there's that.
So I think there's more talent on the Warriors than there is on the Lakers.
And they're both being mismanaged.
That's fair. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think that. Go ahead, Kyle.
I think another thing at the factor with the Warriors is the price tag. That it's the most expensive roster in the league, and like Jory said, they don't have size. Their young players aren't developing, and it's like, what are they paying all this money for? For them to be under 500 with the price tag, it just doesn't work out. Now, them being in shambles, maybe that's strong of a word, but I do think that they're coming to a point where they're going to have to make some serious decisions that's going to affect their future, because maybe the whole part with Draymond and him thinking about retirement, maybe in his mind, he was like, if I lose some of my edge, am I an NBA player? Because I don't know if Draymond Green skill-wise is enough without him towing the line between, hustle and like dirty, if he's an NBA player. He's not himself. And I think that's what he was worried about. And if that is why he contemplated retirement, I can understand that. But if he just did it like out of the blue because he's like, oh, I'm being punished for this, I'll just retire, then I'd have an issue. But so Draymond is not Draymond. The Warriors are going to be worse off. If Klay never comes back to the old Klay, they're going to be in trouble. And he's a free agent at the end of the season. They'd have to replace him. Curry's the only one I know what I'm getting. Although last night he went like 0 for 9 from 3, but he'll have that every once in a while. But looking past that, the only player that I kind of like is like the Pajinski or whatever. He seems like a contributor, but Wiggins, I don't know what happened to him between the finals he had and now. He looks like a complete shell of himself. And I think that is really hurting them as well. Plus the Wiseman and, Kuminga not working out.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that both teams have a little bit of interesting to them. And your point about Draymond Green is well received. You're right. It's well received. If he doesn't play with that edge, is he an NBA player? I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 20 minutes in. Let's move to topic number 2. We only have a 1-hour show tonight. The Natty is on tonight. You got the U of M, Michigan, versus the Washington Huskies. Yep. So, Philadelphia Eagles are in shambles. We'll talk about a team in shambles. Talk about the Lakers. Talk about the Warriors. So, this is a team in shambles, the Philadelphia Eagles. 10-1, lost 5 of their last 6. And in those 5 games, they lost to teams the likes of New York with Tyrod Taylor, Arizona with Kyler Murray. They lost to Drew Lock in Seattle. Those are L's. Now, the team seems to be getting worse, and where they're worse at is offensively, they don't look like they can handle the blitz at all. They have no idea how to pick up the blitz. Defensively, they can't get off the field on third down. They made a switch at defensive coordinator, and it's worse. Matt Patricia has done a terrible job. Sean Goodbye, Desai, terrible job. Before I get into my little game I call Nick Sirianni, here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Eagles are going to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even if they do beat the Buccaneers, they'll beat them close, and then they'll get blown out by the 49ers. I think the Eagles will fire both coordinators in the offseason, offensive and defensive. I think Howie Roseman will bring in the best coordinators money can buy and not fire their head coach. But I don't know if I agree with that. If you need coordinators, let me ask you a question real quick. Who's the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle? Off the top of your head.
I would say Shanahan.
No, you don't know.
Yeah.
I said the offense coordinator. I didn't say the head coach.
I know.
You don't know. You don't know. Who's the offense coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, Jory? Top of your head.
I don't know.
Who's the offense coordinator for the LA Rams? And you know why you don't know? Because the head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They have an offensive coordinator, but we know when Mike McDaniel left San Francisco, they were fine. Kyle Shanahan's system still worked. So why losing Shane Steichen to Indianapolis means your system can't work? Was he really sitting on Shane Steichen's shoulders and calling himself tall? Something to think about. Jonathan Gannon, as much as we took hate on him, that defense looked a lot better last year than it did this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play a game with you all called Nick Sirianni or. You're the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. You're fresh off a 24-17 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the division or the wild card round. And they make a decision. Do you fire the head coach and hire, first name on the list, Ben Johnson? Ben Johnson or Nick Sirianni?
I'd probably go Johnson.
I'd go Johnson with the way things are going now.
Ben Johnson, offense coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Resurging career of Jared Goff. That offense moves the football.
Yeah.
He's an innovator. Nick Sirianni or Eric Bieniemy?
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah. Bieniemy.
Offer it.
Y'all are just ready to fire a coach that was in the Super Bowl last year. All right, I'll continue on my stretch.
Okay.
Nick Sirianni. By the way, I agree with both. Nick Sirianni or Brian Flores?
Ooh.
Defensive head coach?
Yeah.
Will he mesh with Hurts? We don't know.
Right. But I would probably say because of the defensive issues, you'd have to say Flores would fix that. So I'd go Flores.
I might stick with Sirianni here because I'm not too sure how that's gonna work.
Okay. I would go with Brian Flores. Here's an interesting name for you guys. Nick Sirianni, and my answer might surprise you. Nick Sirianni or Bill Belichick? Bill's leaving New England, brother. He's gone.
I
He
don't know
gone.
about that. I don't know about that.
He gone.
Because I'll tell you why. He said he's open to giving up the GM role. I think that's key to him staying.
I think he said that for future teams. I
I
think he
mean,
said that so teams would not have to worry about him hiring him to make sure he's the GM. But let's assume he's gone.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni
or Bill Belichick.
or William Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
So here's the thing. Defensively, he'll fix it. Offensively, though, you might have to worry about who would he bring in as a coordinator. What system would they run? But, look, I love Bill Belichick. I will say Bill Belichick.
I'm sticking with Nick Sirianni in this situation. And I'll tell you why. I think Belichick would run Jalen Hurts out of town. I think Belichick would fix the defense and the offense would be anemic. I think he's a terrible drafter, and I think that him and Howie Roseman would not get along because Howie's a nerd that lives in the nerdery, and Bill Belichick's a football guy that drafts Cole Strange in the first round. I don't think they get along. I think that Bill would ride Howie's rookies harder than they should be, and I think you'd have division in the locker room. So I think that Bill would be a bad hire.
He'd probably fix the A.J. Brown issue because he'd probably trade him.
He would trade him. He would just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Get out of town. The Eagles' offense would be terrible. It'd be 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
I got a couple more for you. I got 3 more. Nick Sirianni or Bobby Slowick. You guys know who Bobby Slowick is?
No.
Yes. Texans
Offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, responsible for the rookie year of C.J. Stroud, the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Bobby Slowick. I'm not saying I really don't think Carolina hires him because I think that owner is an idiot.
Yes.
And I think he'll screw that up royally.
Mhm.
Yes. That's interesting because I would love to see Slowick stay with C.J. Stroud. But kind of like the Ben Johnson thing, I think he could bring a breath of fresh air to the offense. So I would say Slowick.
I don't watch the Houston Texans like that, so there's that. But considering what he's done for that offense, the little that I have seen, yeah, it could definitely give the Eagles a little bit of a boost. So yeah, I'll take him over Sirianni.
All right. I got 2 more for you, and they're both coaching tonight. Nick Sirianni or Jim Harbaugh. Jim's going to be available, and if Philadelphia is a destination that you can land, it's got to be one of the most intriguing jobs in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like it instantly becomes the best hiring job, like the best job. The Philadelphia Eagles will have their pick of the litter of head coach because any head coach would want to come here.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick Sirianni or Jim Harbaugh.
I don't
Now,
like
keep in mind, Jim Harbaugh's a run it guy, defense first. Would that mesh? We don't know.
That might lead to more A.J. Brown blow-ups.
He can handle it. I've seen enough from him in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Old khaki pants can handle it. And I don't like him, but I do like him better as a coach over Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni or Washington Huskies head coach Kalen DeBoer.
Sirianni.
I mean, he'd probably be another one who might be innovative offensively. I think he kind of got to go DeBoer.
What he's done with Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't think you realize who Michael Penix. Let me ask y'all a question, okay? And I don't mean to just trust me when I say this. My goal is not to come off as condescending when I ask this question, but can y'all tell me the college in which Michael Penix started at?
Indiana.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Do you know how many years of eligibility Michael Penix Jr. has played college football?
He's one of these
I know
guys who's
he's
been
been in
around. Has
the
it been like
6
6
years.
years?
This is the 6th year. I want to
Okay.
read you his stats. Now, first year didn't play much. Redshirt freshman year, 21 for 34, no big deal. Indiana's second year was one of his better years. 110 completions, 160 attempts. He had a 70% completion percentage for 1,394 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. 2020, he had 124 completions for 220 attempts, a 56 completion percentage, dropped 14 points, 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Tore his ACL in 2021. He had a shortened season, 87 completions, 162, 939, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Let me read that to you again. I don't think you heard me. 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
Transfers to Washington. 362 completions on 554 attempts for 4,641 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. That was last year. This year, 336 completions on 504 attempts for 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. The man has done wonders.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those numbers really tell the story. Yeah. Because I feel like with the Eagles, if they are to move on from Sirianni, like you're gonna have to knock it out of the park to either fix the offense and be innovative, or get somebody who can fix whatever happens in the defense. Like I said, they lose the coordinator, and all of a sudden it seems like they can't cover the middle of the field. They can't stop this. All the things that we thought, especially with them having so many Georgia Bulldogs on that defense, something's missing. So I would say they either have to go like a really hard-nosed coach like a Harbaugh, Belichick, or it's got to be young, innovative, offensive mind. Can't be somebody who like straddles the line, because that's like going nowhere.
Well, how about this? I'm going to give you one last scenario, and this will not be a coaching change. And I just want to hear both your opinions on it. So in this offseason, the Philadelphia Eagles fire Brian Johnson and they fire Sean Desai. And they go out and they get former offensive coordinator for the Eagles, former coaching colleague of Nick Sirianni, Frank Wright, to run the Eagles offense and be their offensive coordinator. And then you go out and you get a defensive coordinator. Maybe, I don't know how possible this would be, but Ohio State has in my opinion, one of the best defensive coordinators in Jim Knowles. You get a guy from college, you promote him, you pay him a lot of money to be the defensive coordinator in the NFL. You replace your coordinators, and mainly Frank on offense, because he'll never have a head coaching job again. So you don't have to worry about him leaving. Do you think that would be? But is that not putting lipstick on a pig?
That's giving Nick Sirianni the benefit of the doubt. And if you replace the coordinators once, and then you're gonna look at sit down and have to look at the situation. It's not just the coordinators; it's also the head coach. There's something going on with the head coach. So just switching the coordinators is pretty much putting a mask on it.
When you switched the coordinators last year, the Eagles had 2 coordinators that got head coaching jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm proposing is, if you replace those coordinators with elite coordinators like they had last year, and the Eagles turn it around and they look better, is that not putting lipstick on a pig?
It
and
is.
What I mean by that is, are we just disguising Nick Sirianni behind good coordinators?
Yes, because now we see that the 2 coordinators that he did get aren't worth anything, and he looks horrible. So if you get 2 bona fide ones and they fix it, of course we're going to look at the coordinators as being the driving force of it, because we see what he was without him.
Kyle?
I mean, it almost sounds like, to take it to another sport, what the Celtics did with Joe Mazzulla. he was a guy thrust into the position last season. He lost like Damon Stoudemire and stuff from his bench. What they do this offseason? They went and got Sam Cassell and I keep forgetting his name, the dude from Milwaukee, two really strong coordinators to be at his side to kind of help him develop as a coach. And I feel like Missoula's doing a better job this year. So if the Eagles were to do that this offseason, they could kind of position it a way that they're just like, we think Sirianni's good. He just needs some polishing. And we're bringing these guys in to make him a better coach. I mean, it is a direction. If you're going to keep Sirianni, that's probably the way you need to go. You can't keep Sirianni and then bring in an unproven offensive coordinator and just be like, Sirianni will make it happen. Or a terrible defensive coordinator and be like, yeah, you're going to have to either get a really good head coach who can handle it and be the driving force, or surround Sirianni with better coordinators.
See, the reason I think the Eagles will end up keeping Sirianni and doing that with coordinators is because I'm going to pull you guys into the curtain, right? You guys don't live in Philadelphia. You don't know what happened here, and that's okay. But I'm gonna open the curtain for you, let you into Philadelphia. I'm going to welcome you in my city. Just wipe your feet on the rug, and you can come on into the house. Just a few years ago, the Philadelphia Eagles hired a coach by the name of Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly had a great first year. Chip Kelly demanded that he have personnel, rights to personnel. They banished Howie Roseman to the janitor's closet on the other side of the room. Gave him a weird title, moved him out of the general manager's role. Chip Kelly went and traded LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson. It blew up in his face. They fired Chip Kelly, and then they hired a guy that they weren't supposed to hire. It wasn't on anybody's radar. And Doug Peterson. He was a puppet. One that Howie and the organization could control. In 2 years, Doug Peterson won the Philadelphia Eagles a Super Bowl. After Doug won a Super Bowl, Doug started becoming emboldened by himself as a head coach and started demanding more say on what goes on. Howie wanted to make a change at quarterback. Doug said, nope, Carson's my guy. I'm not making a change at quarterback. So they fired Doug Peterson and traded Carson Wentz and hired another guy that wasn't on anyone's radar. Within 2 years, the Philadelphia Eagles were back in the Super Bowl with another guy that the organization could control. It's deja vu.
I see the pattern.
It is a pattern because after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Frank Reich got the head coaching job over in Indianapolis, and Doug Peterson promoted his own guy from within, Press Taylor, and things got worse. And everyone was asking, was it Frank? Was it Frank's offense or was it Doug's? Sirianni goes to the Super Bowl. Steichen goes to the Colts. Gannon goes to the Cardinals. And what does Sirianni do? He promotes his own guy from within and Brian Johnson. And the offense gets worse. And everyone in Philadelphia goes, was it Shane Steichen's offense or was it Nick Sirianni's? Philadelphia wants to control their head coach. Organizationally, they try to control the head coach. That's why they hire people that you never heard of. Now, we knew who Doug Peterson was, but he wasn't on anyone's radar to be a head coach.
Right.
Mike Lombardi listed him as the worst head coaching hire ever. The most unqualified head coaching hire ever. Nick Sirianni got the lowest grade out of any coach that was hired the year he was hired as head coach. Because Philadelphia doesn't want Jim Harbaugh. They don't want a guy that's going to fight for control. And that's a thing that Philadelphia fans need to understand. What's going to happen this offseason is they're going to fire the coordinators and they're going to hire, and Howie Roseman's going to have his hand in picking coordinators. I'm just telling you now, guys.
For the sake of the players on that team, that might be the best thing that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Might be right. Might be right. Jordan, you have a question?
I
would love to
do.
get it.
It has like, how bad did Arthur Smith make himself look yesterday versus the Saints for enough for him to get fired at 12:01 this morning? Because
I
it's
don't think
like the way I
I don't
think
think.
about it.
Okay.
Like the way I think about it, when you throw tantrums, he knew he was on his way out when he threw it. But I want to hear y'all's perspective before I go on my little spiel.
Kyle, do you want to go first? You want me to go?
I'll go first. I'll go first. All right. So when I saw it, the minute that he started walking across the field, and you could tell on his face he was going to tell Dennis Allen something, I automatically thought this was a guy who knew what was at stake going into this game. Now, the fact that they got kind of blown out, I don't know if that was really the place for him to all of a sudden act mad about the situation. And I know I heard Jameis Winston after the game said like he made that call with the guys in the huddle. Dennis Allen had nothing to do with it. Even if Dennis Allen had something to do with it, I wouldn't care. And maybe this is because as a Patriots fan, I heard when they were running up the score and everybody how everybody was so upset about it. Look, the defense is supposed to stop you. Your job is to score. So that unwritten rule I don't believe in. But I mean, Arthur Smith did this to himself. You know, last season when they had Desmond Ridder there, and I know Gene never liked Desmond Ridder. I didn't either. But you were playing Mariota, which was leading you nowhere. And he held on to Mariota for like 12, 13 weeks and then threw Ridder out there. Ridder struggled, but everybody was like, oh, it was only a couple of games given this year. Start this year, everybody once again said, Ridder's not good enough. Lamar Jackson was dangling out there. I thought it would be an Atlanta thing to do to try to go get him. They said, no, we're good. Ridder stinks. They stick with him for whatever reason, just because the division was bad and they were still in the race. They felt like that verified starting Desmond Ridder. Then they go to Heineke, which, I mean, Heineke's good for a couple of games here or there, and then went back to Ridder at the most crucial part of the season when they were still fighting for a playoff spot. And what did Ridder do yesterday? Look terrible. So Arthur Smith has to blame himself for losing this job. If you look at this roster, there's no way that this team should be 7-10. They actually have a good defense. The Falcons haven't had a good defense in forever. You have one of the best young running backs. You have one of the best young tight ends. You have Drake London, who's become a pretty good young wide receiver. How are you 7-10? And you came from Tennessee, where you like to run the ball, but now in Atlanta, you want to throw it all over the field with Desmond Ridder. Like, what happened here? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the front office put pressure on him to make Ridder look good, so that's what he tried to do. And now he's falling on the sword.
No, that was
but
all on Arthur Smith.
I'm just saying, I can't. That'd be if somebody told me that, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. I can't see how you went from a Derrick Henry dominant offense. You have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, who ran for 1,000 yards last year, but you somehow wanted to prove Ridder was a great passer when he was horrible. I didn't get it. So the whole thing with him and Dennis Allen, it's all on Arthur Smith. He was dead wrong for trying to approach Dennis Allen at that point. And I didn't really like Dennis Allen like trying to apologize for it. Like if I was Dennis Allen, I would have been like, bye. Like, I don't need to listen to you. I got my own team to go to. So I don't know.
All right, so Kyle.
Yeah.
You know me and you agree on a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was more of an indictment on Dennis Allen than it was on Arthur Smith. And I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain it to you.
Well, I can see that.
If you run the football out of a single back or an I formation or a goal line set, then I am 100% on Dennis Allen's side.
Mm-hmm.
You do not line up in victory formation to end the football game. The defense is conceding the game. The offense is showing you that they're lining up in victory formation and then run a HP dive out of victory formation to score a touchdown. 3 reasons. Number
But I will
one.
say, before you get into the threes, I can agree with that. Because Jameis Winston, I felt like, thought he was coming to Dennis Allen's aid. He did make Dennis Allen look worse. The fact that Dennis Allen had no idea what was going on with his team on the field. So I can agree with
He
you there.
undermined him.
Three reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, there's no sense in putting your kickoff team and your defense back on the field for the last 18 seconds of that football game. Somebody could get hurt. No reason. The game's over.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, the reason it's a huge indictment on Dennis Allen is, you said it perfectly, he called victory formation. His team rebelled against him. That's an indictment on Dennis Allen. That means your locker room doesn't believe in you. And the third thing, the thing that I think bothers me the most, is he apologized to Arthur Smith and said, look, as the head football coach, you have to take responsibility for your players. You shake his hand, you walk away. You want to tell him privately, fine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say, no, I had nothing to do with that. The players did that. It's your football team, dummy. He's getting fired too. He's gone. He's gone. That indictment to Jameis Winston. And by the way, Jameis Winston, I agree with Shannon Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Club Shay Shay. There's a reason this dude's a loser. That's not what you do, bro.
Because he does goofy stuff. Like,
that was a bad idea. That was a very bad idea.
It was a weird look. He was like at his locker talking all intense, like they had won the Super Bowl or something. I was like, bro, calm down. Like, take it down a couple of notches.
You're talking about getting a touchdown to a guy that led the league in touchdowns last year. I don't care.
He got plenty of those. Like, come on.
Jamal Williams had none this year. He had 17 last year. They wanted to get him a touchdown because he was playing a fullback type role for them this year because of the injuries. And they wanted to show him how meaningful he was to the team.
That sounds like we don't like her coach, we don't respect him, and we're not going to listen to a dang thing that he says. That's exactly what that sounds like.
You're spitting facts, Jory. These are facts.
And I'm a coach's daughter, so I already know what it looked like.
Oh, and by the way, Arthur Smith should have been fired.
Oh, yeah.
Over one on the field. I don't care when you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Fire him immediately. I don't care. But yesterday was more of an indictment on Dennis Allen than it was Arthur Smith. Now, on the Arthur Smith, let me just give you a little breakdown of Mr. Arthur Smith. Mr. I hate fantasy football.
Mr. Vrabel wannabe.
You draft Kyle Pitts with the 4th overall pick. And you don't use him. You use the 7th overall pick on Bijan Robinson and you run Tyler Algier more. Use the 9th overall pick on Drake London, but you have no quarterback to throw him the football.
Yep.
Arthur Smith has a problem. Big problem. Oh, and by the way, what was Arthur Smith over in Tennessee? What was his position? What?
Offensive coordinator.
Oh, he was the offense. What has improved since Arthur Smith went to Atlanta?
Absolutely nothing.
The defense.
Right.
Not on Arthur Smith.
That's not on Arthur Smith, though.
And that's my point. He deserved to be fired. A terrible head coach. However, I don't agree with what happened yesterday. You can't do that out of victory formation. Can't do it out of victory formation. That's the problem I have.
That's valid.
I want to get in.
Yeah, George.
Because like my problem with Arthur Smith is like he realized that's what my thing about that whole tantrum thing is. He realized what was on the stake that game, and he knew he was probably going to be out. Now the Falcons doing it at midnight kind of was like, it showed how exasperated Arthur Blank was, because Arthur Blank is very patient as an owner. He is, because it's like he's stuck with Mike Smith for too long. He's stuck with Dan Quinn for too long. And what Arthur Smith has said on like the Georgia Public Broadcasting Channel or whatnot, when he said that he expected more and Arthur Smith was on a wait and see basis or whatnot, should have told Arthur Smith everything. I am probably gone by the end of this year. So the fact, and my thing about the whole him getting mad about New Orleans, I understand that's a bad look on New Orleans, but on Arthur Smith's end, you let a team score 48 on you. You didn't have anything to do with the other 41 points. Why the 48th one's got to bother you? And it's like, it's a pattern for Atlanta at this point. And especially with the whole Desmond Ridder situation, I know that was completely on Smith. That had not, like, Terry Fortnite, even though he drafted the dude, but to stick with him, that's on Arthur Smith. When we saw that he wasn't it, a blind man could have saw that Desmond Ridder wasn't it. You have decent pieces that you're wasting because you want to be smarter than everybody in the room. And I'm glad he's gone. That's my spiel on that one.
It's also telling that Fontenot kept his job as GM.
Exactly, because he had, man.
He gave Arthur Smith pieces, and Arthur Smith didn't know how to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, there are 5 jobs open in the NFL. The Panthers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Falcons, and the Commanders have all let go their head coaches. You have 5 positions that are wide open. There's the Saints, the New England Patriots. There's a lot of other teams that could be searching for a new head coach.
The Saints are going to keep Dennis Allen. I heard about that. They're going to keep him.
Really?
I was about to say, I thought I heard that Dennis Allen was staying.
That is insane.
I think so too, but yeah.
So let's talk about the opportunities that are in front of us. Let's talk about the 5 that we know about. Coaching carousel. Do you want to start with Carolina or do you want to start with Washington? Y'all pick. And I'll
start with Washington because Carolina is a mess. I wouldn't want to work with Tepper.
Yeah. He might throw water on you.
We'd be fighting. There's that.
All right, so Washington Commanders. Who is their next head coach, and who do you think it should be? So this could be 2 different answers.
I mean, they brought in Bieniemy. He turned Sam Howell into a piece you could go along with. Why not just make him the head coach? Seems too obvious. So I'll say Bieniemy.
Okay.
They probably would. That's the move that makes the more sense. But sometimes when you get new ownership, they might just want to blow it up completely, and Bieniemy might have to go somewhere else. So I'm gonna look at that aspect. But if they want an offensive-minded coach that could take that team, pick their quarterback if they choose to move on from Sam Howell or just keep him as a backup, even though I think they could do something with him, I would say Ben Johnson from the Lions. The Lions offensive coordinator would make a nice fit in Washington. But if Eric Bieniemy isn't.
Who it should be is Bill Belichick. I think that the new organization, the new ownership group with Josh Harris, I think that Bill Belichick should be the one that they target. I think, and I got a different answer for you for the Chargers. I think Bill Belichick's the answer here. I think he's the next head coach of the Washington Commanders. So I'm going to go with Bill Belichick.
It's not bad going from Riverboat Ron to Bill Belichick. Not bad.
That's not bad.
Let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. I will start with this one. You said Eric Bieniemy to Washington. I think Eric Bieniemy to Atlanta. They interviewed him prior, but when he was a Chiefs assistant, they said he didn't interview well. A lot of race conversations came up about that. And now they're first in line to want to interview him now. I think Eric Bieniemy is the mistake that got away. They hired Arthur Smith. I think this is the Atlanta Falcons fixing their mistake. I think Eric Bieniemy is the guy. Give me Eric B.
Yeah, I would say go get Eric Bieniemy and go get him. If you're not going to draft a quarterback this year, go get maybe a Russell Wilson. Put him down here, and that is a team that should cakewalk into a division title.
Not gonna lie, if Bieniemy doesn't get the Washington job, I feel like Atlanta would be the best fit for him.
The Los Angeles Superchargers.
I mean, they're gonna go big name hunting.
Yeah,
I feel like I think they're gonna try to get Harbaugh.
You're correct,
pretty
sir.
much.
You are correct, sir. I think Jim Harbaugh is the guy. I think that you got Justin Herbert in place. I think you have all the defensive pieces for him to build a team. I think Jim Harbaugh is the next coach of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
All right, we got two more. Two more to go. The Las Vegas Raiders.
If it's
Do
not
they
Antonio
make
Pierce, I boycott.
Yes, it absolutely should be Pierce. They will also want to make a big splash, so they're going to try to flirt with Harbaugh as well, but it needs to be Antonio Pierce. Listen to your players,
Cut.
Vegas.
Listen to your players. Like, listen to your players, bro.
Kyle, you've known me now for a year and a half.
Yep.
Do you remember how excited and how optimistic I was this time last year?
Yes.
I was so excited. I thought that they were going to have all these African-American coaches that were hired and put in the right positions. There's no way the Raiders are moving away from Rich Bisaccia those 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Flores is definitely going to get a head coaching job. Eric Bieniemy is going to get a head coaching job. And the NFL has jaded me. I think it should be Antonio Pierce. But Raiders going to Raider.
Yeah.
And it's insane to me to think that if they hire another underqualified white offensive coordinator, I'm going to lose my mind. Jory, would you go pick it outside the stadium with me? Would you fly out to Las Vegas and me and you stand in front of the stadium with pickets?
Because it's like the players are telling you everything you need to know with the way they've played since he's taken over. Listen to your players. You're stupid if you make the same mistake twice within 2 years. Stupid.
Last one, Carolina Panthers. I think this is where Ben Johnson lands. I think it should be Slovic, Bobby Slovic from Houston. But I think this is, and I don't think Ben Johnson's a bad hire either. I think this is where Ben Johnson lands. He gets his hands on a young quarterback, an organization with low expectations. And I think that the Carolina Panthers hired Ben Johnson.
They're going to have to hire somebody who's a first-year head coach because anybody with some experience ain't going to touch anything dealing with Mr. Temper over there with a long wooden spoon. I wouldn't touch it because the second you start trying to fire me after 5 games of it's not going right, I'm like, what did you expect? Magic? This is the NFL, not business.
Who are you hiring for Carolina?
The offensive Slowick.
Bobby
I
Slowick.
already said Johnson for Washington, so
Okay.
I'll take Slowick.
I'd probably go Johnson because I haven't put him anywhere yet, and he's definitely getting a job this season.
Before we wrap up, we're going to get a prediction on tonight's national championship game. I want to ask one more question. One head coaching candidate to one place that hasn't been named yet.
Ooh,
It's the last one I want to get into.
that's good.
To a place that hasn't been named yet. Give me a head coaching candidate.
Mm.
I'm trying
Who
to
would
think
be
of a
looking
place
for a
that's
head
probably
coach?
going to fire somebody.
I know who won't be firing their head coach
I don't know how in the world Eberflus is surviving this offseason.
because they turned it around. That's
Who
why.
turns you around, Jordy?
The Chicago Bears looked a lot better in the last half of the season than they looked the first.
Justin
So,
Fields.
and Justin
But
Fields had a
they
lot
want to
big things
move
to do with
Fields
that.
and keep Eberflus.
So wild to me.
If they trade him and keep
Here's
Eberflus, it's stupid.
here's mine for you. I've already given you a place for Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
That to me means that there's an opportunity in New England.
Yeah.
I think New England passes up on Gerard Mayo and hires Brian Flores to be the next head coach of the New England Patriots. That's my projection, and I'm sticking to it.
I like that fit though. I do like that.
I like that. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. Okay.
Listen to your hearts. I think that the New England Patriots are getting buyer's remorse on I think they're getting buyer's remorse on Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ready yet.
No, I don't think so either.
So
I think they're getting buyer's remorse already.
Yeah, John saying Pats will hire Mayo. I mean,
John's trying to upset me today, and that's okay. I'm ignoring him. It's okay, John. It's all right. John. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be all right. I'm not upset. Frankly, I've accepted my off season. I'm there. I'm sitting right next to you on the couch. Just we have one more game to play than you do.
good point.
I'm so glad that the Colts and the Jags are sitting right next to my team on the couch. Right next. The two most insufferable fans.
But see, you only say that because you're a Titans fan. The only people that think the Colts and the Jaguars are the most insufferable fans in the NFL are people that are fans of a team in the NFC South. No one in the whole world thinks the Colts or the Jaguars have a bad fan base outside of
They're
fan
horrible.
bases. I mean, I guess there's so many other fan bases that are terrible, though. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I think those guys are like white rice. They're bland, is what it is.
They're definitely on the softer side when you compare.
Hey, John, I said a lot of things
Giants
on this show. I didn't think the Browns were making the playoffs. They did. I'm super happy for the Browns, but I'm right a lot more than I'm wrong. So if you want to pull receipts on me being wrong, pull all the receipts of me being right, my friend. What's your prediction on tonight's game? Michigan, Washington.
So for me, it's like Michigan's going to play very physical, NFL defensive, running the ball. Washington's going to want to spread the ball out and throw it all over the field. I'm going to go. I think I kind of like Washington tonight. There's just something about that Washington offense that just looks unstoppable right now. So I'll take Washington by 6. Because I do think Michigan's going to slow down time possession that tight, but I'll take Washington by 6.
Okay. John's got Washington by 12. Jory, what's your pick?
I'll take Michigan by 3.
I'll take Michigan by 21.
A blowout.
I think Michigan runs the football down Washington's throat, and Washington can't stop it. And I think if you're going to ask me if there's a more opportunity for Michigan's defense to stop Washington offense or Washington's defense to stop Michigan's offense. I think it's 100% Michigan's defense slowing down Washington's offense.
That's a good point. I think if
I
Michigan
hope
does
they
win,
tie.
it's probably a blowout because of them just being too physical for Washington.
I'll make a bet with you, John. Michigan don't win this game by 2 touchdowns. I will shave my beard tomorrow.
Oh, Lord.
I will shave my beard tomorrow if they don't win by 2 touchdowns. But what are you doing for me? I'm not shaving my head. I have a job. I'm a grown up. I'll get like a low top fade or something for you, but I'm a grown up. What are you doing for me if I'm right then, John? What are you doing for me? If
I
Michigan has got 14 points or more, what are you doing for me, John? I don't want a pizza. I'm on a diet. I'm down 23 pounds. What are you doing for me, John? I love you, John. All love. That's what we got for you tonight. The national championship is on. Go watch the national championship. Enjoy the night. Any final thoughts, Jory?
I hope they tie. I don't like Michigan. Roll Tide.
They can't tie. It's a national championship.
Whatever. I hope they don't score.
Kyle, any final thoughts?
Look, I'm fully invested in this game because the Patriots might be drafting one of these quarterbacks. And I got to say, McCarthy's growing on me. I didn't really know what I thought about him before.
Not
but
an NFL quarterback, brother.
Huh? He's not?
Not an NFL quarterback.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I like Penix, but I just have been impressed by JJ McCarthy. It just seems like a move they would make. Take McCarthy later rounds, draft something in the first round, and then I'd have to convince myself that he's going to be the answer.
Michigan don't win by 14 points. Tune in to Wire Wednesday. You'll see this beard growing.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Cheap Seats Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. That's the Prince Production, Kyle Edwards. And below me is Jory from Jory Sports Stories. And we are signing.